world. I'm going to wait for a few people to come in, and then we're going to talk about the case. Hopefully, you guys can hear me okay. Nice glasses. Yeah, yeah. So you can see quite a few people here today, folks. We see a lot of activity out here on the street, but not a lot of media. There's a few people still here, but not a whole lot. So again, we're gonna wait for a few people to come in. We have Eric. Eric, I sound good? You can hear me through the microphone, Eric? Talk to me, brother. I need to make you a moderator, Eric. I want Eric on my team at all times here. Okay, Eric. All right, Eric. Don't allow any foolishness in the comments. We go easy on people, but we don't want it to get out of control. All right? All right, Eric. Thank you very much. I know you'll do a great job. So, Eric says that they can hear me okay. We can hear you good. All right. The microphone is working, folks. Hopefully, we'll have Uda on the go step in. But until then, let me tell you what's happening with the case. So I came down today, guys. You can see the courthouse is behind me. This is 500 Pearl Street. 500 Pearl Street, folks. We're here in Manhattan. You can see it live. Quite a few people showed up for this hearing, but guess what? Nothing new. Same date, October 3rd. It lasted all of a few minutes. One way, it was an hour and a half for me to get here. And before you could turn your head around, the whole conference was over. And October the 3rd is that date, guys. Yes, it is. What's up? Who do we have in the chat? We have Cindy in the chat. All right. Eric is holding it down as always. Yes, indeed. Tanya, thank you, Tanya, for coming through. I appreciate you. Nikki is in the building. I appreciate having you. Bordogs, look at there. Look who we have in the building. Bordeaux is in the building. So, guys, let's talk about this whole thing. There's a big debate about how much time Diddy's going to get. I personally don't think he's going to get much of any time, but that's just my personal feeling. You know why? Because I came to this trial and I sat there and I heard so much stuff. And I saw so much evidence, and guess what? It didn't hold up in court. It goes to show when you have the right amount of money and the right attorneys, you can have a much better chance of surviving these cases. Shout out to Sharon. Good to see you, Sharon. And also it saw someone else that was, Tanya's in the building. Shout out to you. What up, Jay? What's going on? So you see what happens is when you have the right amount of money, you can have a much different effect and a different outcome than the average Joe. So what does that tell you? Don't try it. If you heard something in this case and you think you can beat it, don't try it, brother. Unless you have millions to put out there, I would tell you, especially if you're going to use a hometown attorney, you don't want to do it. Especially when it comes to the federal government. They lined up 6 women, and they got up there every day. I heard them. And they knew this case like the back of their hands, and guess what? They lost it. I mean, they did win on 2 counts, so it wasn't 100% slam dunk. It wasn't a Michael Jordan type of deal, but it worked out favorable for the client, and it's my opinion that he's going to come home probably sooner than later. I think from what I remember being in court, the judge said the defense asked for 21 to 26 months. I believe that's what they recommended. And the prosecutors had asked for 51 to 63. Now, what I have been telling you guys that the judge in this case is very unpredictable, and I'll tell you why. When it came down to juror number 6, the judge was favorable when it came out in the morning, and they talked about, well, you know, this juror, he wasn't totally honest about his living arrangements, right? And so the judge said, well, maybe it's a language issue. Maybe he was confused, and some of the attorneys, they went back and forth with that, right? Now, The judge was even smiling. When he came back at 4:30 that day, they said he's out of here. And they kicked that juror right on up out of here. So that was a difference from the morning until the evening. Well, what happened again when it came down to Diddy's bail hearing? I was in the main courtroom for both of these occurrences, right? In the morning, when the verdict was read, they came back within an hour. Remember the day before, they basically had been stumped. They couldn't make a decision on the RICO. Well, the following day, again, I'm in the main courtroom, and within an hour, it seems that they had a verdict. First, they started off saying that there was a note, and that note turned into being a verdict, okay? And once the verdict was read, number one, count one, RICO, not guilty. Number two, excuse me, what's that? Okay, all right. God bless America. Oh boy, this lady giving me a hard time. Okay, sorry guys, I'm sorry. It is what it is, folks. I couldn't resist. Number two was trafficking of Cassie, not guilty. Number three was prostitution across state lines, basically, of Cassie, guilty. Number four, trafficking of Jane Doe, not guilty. And then when it came to number five, prostitution basically across state lines of Jane Doe, it came back guilty. So that was the final verdict. Now you guys see what happens? These people do not mind coming up talking to you while you're on your video. They don't care what you're doing. But that lady was not. She wanted to give me all the smoke today. You also could probably hear this loud music from this guy here, right? Check it out. So yeah, out here, it is what it is, folks. You have to be able to contend with all of this stuff while you're trying to talk to people about a channel. So hopefully he'll move on. But anyway, it is what it is, okay? So, hold on one second, guys, 1 second. I want to try to get one more person on here in a minute. Okay, so getting back to this particular case, the judge, he basically, with the bail hearing, after Agnifilo, Diddy's attorney stood up and said, listen, my client does not have these three main counts or charges against him anymore. Let him go home, basically, right? We're going to ask for a bail. Well, the prosecutor stood up and they said, oh, on these two accounts, he could potentially get 10 years each. Okay, so that's 20 years that they were looking for, right? That's what the prosecution said. And the judge said this, right? He says, I'm sure Mr. Combs does not want to go back to the MDC, which is the jail in Brooklyn. And at that point, I saw Sean Puffy Combs' face light up. So you paint the picture as though the man is going to be able to come home. That's the impression that you get. Well, when the judge came back at the end of the day, it was a different ball game, folks. He had a whole different philosophy on this case because he started to bring up, in fact, I was actually in the main courtroom when they did the opening arguments, and I saw it for myself. Mark Agnifilo, they did express, and they said, look, this is not a RICO case. This is a domestic violence case, and we own that, right? We own the drugs. A lot of things that the defense, they own, they said the client was able to, excuse me, you guys want me to move? You want me to move?
Huh?
You need me to move?
I have to record.
But I'm saying you need me to move?
No, if you want.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. All right, so, okay, great. So you see how rude it gets out here, right? It's insanity, right? Okay, so anyway, so Agnifilo basically asked for lesser time, or actually for Diddy to actually go home. Prosecutor said, look, he's facing 20 years or what have you, right? The judge says, you know, I'm sure the client doesn't want to go back. Then at the end of the day, he came back and he talked about the domestic violence. That's where I was, about the domestic violence. And he said that for the uh, opening arguments, you conceded that he did commit domestic violence, and that's what the judge used to hold him in jail. He used the actual words that came from Mark Agnifilo or from the defense in order to keep Sean Puffy Combs in jail. So, I think when it comes down to looking at the various ways that this case could go, you have to factor in that this judge can do whatever he wants to do. But I think personally, my opinion, I think that he'll be home within a short period of time. I do not know how much time it could be. The reason I say that is because he has an incredible team, a team that the average person could not have,
You look good.
could not afford. I'm sorry, I'm recording.
He looks really good.
Okay, all right. You want to tell everybody?
It's Samira Hunter, and he looks really good.
Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right. So she wanted you guys to know, man, I can't record out here, bro. I got RICO Suave over here, just being so loud. I was here first. Free Puffy? All right, all right. Say it loud, brother. Say it loud. Oh, okay. He don't want to say it. All right. I'm sorry, guys, but this is what you have to be able to contend with out here on the street. And I try to be nice about it. So let's stay on the nice street today, right? Okay. So let me look at a few of the comments. That's where we are. Let's see. All right, talking about the leaves. Oh, CBS 12 is in the building. Okay, all right. Ralphie, please be respectful in the chat. Okay, so evidently we must have something going on. Thumbs up, please. Yay, okay. Bordox is in the building. CBS 12, thank you for being here. As you can see, we have all sorts of activity going on. Tanya, I think the judge will go down the middle with sentencing. Quite possible. But again, with a team of attorneys like this, he might go home the same day. Who knows, right? But I think it's only fair because his charges, he did not get hit with those major 3 charges, folks. I mean, we have to respect where he is now, although the judge did bring up those issues. Okay, Maple Leafs are my favorite hockey team. Okay, that's from CBS. Okay, my dad gave it to me when I was a baby child. I hated it, but now I'm trying to embrace it. Okay. All right, so we're having a discussion about Maple Leaves. R. Kelly wishes he had Mr. Combs' legal team. I know he does. And, to be honest with you, I think all R. Kelly needs... Now, let's not get it twisted. R. Kelly has some major, major concerns, especially when it comes to minors. A lot of people are concerned about that. We don't want that type of behavior if it is true. But all he would really need, from what I can understand, is Shapiro. She's probably the best appellate attorney that that money could buy. Or if he gets Brian Steele, it's automatically automatically over. This lady here, guys, check this out. I want you to see this. Look how hard she works every day. She passed by here around the same time. She is definitely working hard. Let me show you guys what's going on. Enrique Suave is out here talking away, so it is what it is, folks. You can see the people that are still gathered that actually showed up for the trial or the event today. Let's see what else everybody is saying. That's unfortunate for people who don't have the money. Yeah, listen, if you don't have the money, they're going to put you in that slow roaster and they're going to cook you. I'm just being honest when I tell you guys, being in the courtroom every day, I do not care what these guys say. I really don't. I really don't care. These people, they go into your records, they get your American Express. They get everything. They had, for the accusation of their Let's say the particular point that they did win on, well, actually, not even that point. They were showing the moving of people around. They go back and they pull up from JFK, the airplane, the flight itinerary from years ago. And they show that the individual flew all the way across country. Like, how can you typically beat something like that, right? Oh, little Mr. Fishburne in your local town, he's not going to pull it off for you. And by the time he asks you for that $5,000 retainer, you're probably going to get stuck at that point. And now the average person right now is really struggling because the economy is tough. Even if you get a charge on simple things, driving while intoxicated, whatever it could be, it could cost you a fortune, especially if you don't have a large amount of money in the first place, right? So imagine if the government hits you with all these different charges. You think you're going to come out of that? That might not be the final analysis for you, right? Really something to think about. All right. Now, I want to talk to you guys about something else. Let's see what everybody's saying here. Good afternoon, October. All right. So, for those who just came into the room, Sean Puffy Combs, he will be sentenced on October 3rd, folks. And that's the same date, the original date that the judge had chosen. So basically, there was no change, even though they had came today for an expedited chance at him getting sentenced so he could start the journey and find out what it's going to be and all that good stuff, all right? So there you have it, October the 3rd. Now, also in this court, I covered about 2 weeks ago, and if you guys have any questions about this case, I will address it before we take off here. But we also have, for this case, the Drake versus UMG, which I attended last week. And basically, Drake is suing UMG over the record, They're Not Like Us or whatever it is by Kendrick Lamar. And would you believe that Kendrick Lamar sold 9 billion streams? Like, what in the world? And they talked about how the song was played heavily at the, what do they call it, the bar mitzvah within that particular community. All the young people were playing it on heavy rotation. So, you know, that's pretty interesting to know. But here's the question. What are they really what is Drake really suing over? He's suing over defamation because in the particular song, you know that Kendrick, he basically breaks down that Drake is guilty of being a, you know, PEDO type of deal, allegedly. And so Drake is actually suing him for it on a high level. And I'm not sure how this case is going to go, but I will tell you that the female judge who's presiding over this case, she knew all about Drake's music. Beautiful lady, really nice judge. She knew all about the song called Tailor Made, where all of these accusations started. She knew all about every lyric of that song, They're Not Like Us, or whatever the song is, right? She knew all of the lyrics. And when the prosecution and the defense were making their arguments, she was able to point to certain features of the song to substantiate why this perhaps needs to stay in court. Now, even the judge agreed and said that, listen, when it comes to this case, it started off as a rap battle. You guys see the Smack TV or whatever it is where these guys, they do the rap battles. And pretty much it's open season. You can talk about a guy's suit and silly hat, New York hat. You could rap about whatever you want to rap about, right? But if this case sets a precedent, it's going to pose a big problem about rap lyrics and what you're able to say about another person. And it might end up being a civil case where you have a person from a rap battle coming after you for defamation of character. Yeah, folks, that's where we're headed. So Diddy's case, right, has already set the precedents, right, as far as flying females out to Vegas or taking them over state line, and you give them some money, or in the case of Jane Doe, They tried to say paying her rent is kind of an exchange. These are some of the things that they tried to say in court. The only thing that really stuck in this trial was the prostitution across state lines, these two charges. But you may see in other cases that are coming down the pipeline where regular Joes get hit with charges because the precedence is set. So it's something to think about. So in this case, imagine you have a rap battle and the guy sues you and now you have to pay him $100,000 because you said a statement that was derogatory and fell under defamation of character. That's a real problem, you know? Rap battle is a very big thing in this world. And imagine now if the government is able to, or if an individual is able to really come after you because of the lyrics that you're saying. It's a real problem. So one of the things that came out in this case of Drake versus UMG, I distinctly recall that the prosecutor said that UMG is responsible by using different tactics to take a song that was basically a rap battle song and turn it into a national anthem. Can you imagine that? That's what came out in court. Turned it into a national anthem. Kendrick Lamar made a song that changed pretty much the world, especially when it comes to rap lyrics. I think everybody pretty much know about this song. I have my aunts. They know about this song, and they're talking about they're not like us and all this stuff. I'm like, wow, you know, all from one rap song. Now, here's a point that the judge made. She used a nice illustration, and then I'll end with this, right? She said that when it comes to this case, imagine if you saw two guys out here on the street, and they're fighting each other, fighting and pushing, and they're having this big argument. And then the next day, one of them file and say, hey, this guy defamed me. She said, I would want to go back and hear that discussion that they were having the night before when they were on the street arguing. So that's what she was using to show how the rap battle is very important and how it all started. We know how it ended, right? And even Drake has just released a new song. I haven't heard it yet. I will try to hear it. But that was a good illustration that the judge used to show that really you do have to factor in tailor-made. And the argument that the defense was making is that there had been some rumors. And now this is all court transcripts, so I don't want to say anything out of pocket. But basically there was a rumor that Drake would go to the high school games of young girls, basketball games. That's what they said distinctly. And so that's what kind of flamed some of this from the Kendrick standpoint. And also they said one guy in Drake's camp was guilty of doing some weirdness with, young people, right? Yeah, so you have to think about that. Now the judge, she made a nice point, and I don't have my notes, but I remember what I heard in court. She basically broke down that Drake is not out of the woods either. She said to Drake's attorney, listen, Drake alleged that Kendrick Lamar had an illegitimate child. He also alleged, I believe, that Drake beat his girl. I don't know if she's his wife or what. I don't think so. But that's what the judge said. That's how in tune she is with the current music industry, knowing about this case when it comes to Drake and when it comes to Kendrick Lamar. I thought that was very impressive that she was able to, break these things down in court, guys. So I'm covering that case. I'm also covering Carmelo Anthony, the attorney that you see on with me a lot, Calvin Johnson. This case is in his backyard, folks, and he actually knows key individuals involved with this case, even the judge. So for this particular case, when I go down, I'll know a lot. I'll probably be able to really help you guys understand what's happening. But not only that, I'll have an attorney coming on with me that's actually has his hands on with this case and understanding what's happening and knowing probably some of the background information. So stay tuned with the channel. Like, share, subscribe. We're going to be covering some major cases. I'm also going to cover Luigi Mangione, I believe his last name is. So that's going to be a great case for you to keep in, lock in with me. I'm going to be covering that case too. I'm also going to be covering what's left of, or a few points when it comes to Brian Koberger. I had planned to go out to his trial, but he took a plea deal. So there you have it, folks. I can't fly out to Idaho and attend that whole trial. I had really covered that trial back a few years ago. I had a surgery. And so in order to get through, I was basically investigating Brian Koberger's case, or what happened. It wasn't really his case at the time because they didn't know who he was. But I was investigating, looking at everything in regards to these 4 individuals that were unalived on a college campus. It was a terrible, terrible incident. So I was looking forward to actually going to Idaho. I heard it's actually nice out there. But it looks like I won't be going out there for an extended period of time. But I will try to get out there and get you guys some, some good information in regards to that case. I don't know how many of you actually follow that case. Also, I want to tell you guys about Donald Trump. I covered his case. Let me show you guys right here. This is the courthouse. This is the back of it. That's where Donald Trump's case was held at. 100 Center Plaza, or Place, I believe, in that building. So I attended his trial. From what I could understand, Donald Trump slept most of the day, folks. He didn't seem worried about it, even though it was a high pressure case. In fact, I was in the courtroom when I think his attorney, the guy that they had talked to, Rudy Giuliani, had talked to this guy named Costello, and he had set up like a back channel, I guess, with Donald Trump for this attorney to help with the case. And this guy, he contested the judge so much that the judge made all of us leave out of the courtroom. And so unlike with Diddy case, right? I guess the birds are putting on a show. A lot of birds here. Anyway, with Diddy's trial, Diddy would come in at the front of the courtroom out of a left door every day. Donald Trump, in that courtroom, he was coming out of the back door. So at times I'd be sitting on the end of the seat, right, end seat, and Donald Trump come walking right past me. Tall guy. He's not a short guy. He's not what you would appear, to be online. But anyway, he came through. He would take his seat. When they made us leave the courtroom, he had to leave out first, and everything was really secure. But that court case was way more organized than this Diddy's case when it came to getting in and out of the building. It seemed that they had more of a system. There was a lot of fights outside. In fact, while I was there, a gentleman set himself ablaze. Yeah, that was his protest. I couldn't believe what was happening. So to come out here on these streets, folks, and cover these cases, as you can see, look, there's all sorts of people roaming around, coming through. So it's not easy. And now in most of these cases, I'm sorry.
Are you doing live?
Yeah, I am.
Give you my card.
Okay, I can talk to
Text
you.
me, okay?
Okay, Spectrum News, okay. You want to say something?
No, I'm not allowed.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'll definitely reach out to you.
Yeah.
Yep, I got you. All right. Okay, great. So there we go. One of the big news stations. I guess they want to talk to me. All right. Doing a lot of talking lately. Yeah. So anyway, getting back to what I was saying. So you can see out here on the street, and when I was on Tasha K's show, right? I was right over here to the right. And I was, probably about where that last cone is, the black one. And people were just walking up to me. I'm on a live show. There was a fight going on across the street, so it's very easy to get distracted. And not only that, for the one time I was on the show, it was pouring raining on me, but I wanted to stay on the show, so I did. It is what it is. So it's not easy to be out here on these streets covering these cases, but it's what I want to do, folks. And look at here, we have over 200 people in the room. What a great support. If you guys could please hit the like button, we could get more people in the room, more people to shed some light and ask questions and so forth. We're definitely growing. Over the last 28 days, we've had close to 2 million views. That's crazy to me. I don't know how, but it is what it is. We're thankful. Okay, very good. Yes, indeed, guys. So somebody in the audience is talking about maple leaves. What is that? What does that mean? Or maybe it's some inside joke. I'm not too sure. All right. Okay. All right, guys. So that's it for today, folks. Tomorrow, I have a special guest coming on for you guys. Her name is Blanca Cobb. She's a body language expert. And she's going to come on and talk about the body language of Diddy. She was in the courtroom with me. She's going to come on tomorrow night. I think it's going to be at night. We haven't set the time yet. But she's going to break down Cassie's body language. Remember, when it came to Mia, she had two bangs or whatever you want to call it. And most of the time, she would have her head down, moving the hair out of her face. She barely would lift her head up. So we're going to understand like what was happening from the perspective of a body language expert about the jury members. Some of you have asked me, oh, I want to know what was going on with the jury members. Well, I'm going to let the body language expert, here's a loud vehicle, hold on. All right, so tomorrow's definitely tap in with me. She's going to be on. We have Calvin coming back on Sunday. I have a lot of big time, we have a few celebrities coming through, guys. A lot of people are locking in. I have a story that I might break to you guys. I have someone that wants to come tell their story. It might just break the internet, or I might just give it to Tasha K. You know, I might just give it to her. I don't know if I want to take it on. So let me bring on, with no further ado. Yes, sir.
You already know the vibes. Y'all. Salute to everybody in the chat. Ooda, ooda, ooda. We on go. We outside live. We out here. I've been here since early this morning. The hearing was about 1 minute long, y'all. 1 minute long. Oil up was quick. The oil up was quick, y'all. Can't even hold you. Didn't even get a time to do my slide on it. Didn't even get a chance to do my slide in there. So they went in there. They haggled it down. They said, you know what? We're trying to get this down. Got it down to September 22nd. So we like, okay, all right. They expedited it a week or so before. Any day while you're in prison is good for you. Whether 1 week, 1 day, that's good. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to spend more time, not to say he's going to get out of jail, but you want to get out of MDC maybe and go to another facility, which is more of a facility where inmates, federal inmates, are actually housed, and they actually have taken their time now. So people are like, you know what I mean, maybe less inclined to be flipping and doing less things, doing certain things, you know what I'm saying? Because everybody got their time, people are trying to get they bid out the way, things like that. You got more things, you know what I mean? People are eating good in there. When these people on the news talking about a jail menu, ain't nobody's eating no jail food, bro, unless you don't have money. And Diddy has money. So people that don't have that much money is not eating jail food as well. People are cooking in jails. They doing all these things in these federal facilities as well. They got pots, they got kettles, they cooking in the kettle, different things like that. You cooking, you got a kettle, one kettle for cooking up your rice in it, one kettle or something like that. If you got pots too and all that. But they be having kettles, you cook up your rice in the kettle. You could cook up one kettle, your little stewed chicken, have something whipping in that. You don't really want to mix your rice with your like your kettle with your chickens and stuff like that, because it also adds the flavor. So yeah, things like that is going on in there. People is baking cakes and pies. Don't think some people in jail is eating better than people outside on the streets, son. Believe this. But yeah, man, we back to the same place, man. It's still the same place. I know Diddy wanted to get that out the way. Maybe he could get moved, get housed. But besides getting moved, getting housed, you'll know that maybe he was trying to push for August, probably. That'd have been a good look. That's a little bit, you know what I mean, earlier than October the 3rd. And you also want to move out of October, because October, I've heard as well, is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, if I'm not mistaken, right? So if that is that as well, if it moved to the 22nd, I thought he actually evaded being in Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So that might not be a good look as well, that's happening in that month. So people are going to be thinking about that as well, you know what I mean, when they're thinking about these types of things. I don't know though, man. What y'all thinking about Diddy? What y'all thinking about everything? A lot of people are in the stir about the verdict. He's guilty, he's not guilty. Some people are saying, what we do know is that the jury knows better than everybody. I've been there every day, took my notes myself, have the transcripts of all transcripts. I have the whole transcript of this whole case. I've read the transcripts as well. You know what I mean? But the jury watched this case. And not only did they watch this case, they seen evidence that we didn't see. They watched audio, seen pictures, messages, and things that stuff that we probably didn't see as well. They also had a chance to see the actual witnesses or potential victims, if you deem them as victims, in the court, to see their mannerisms, see how they're acting, and listen to what their testimonies say. You know what I mean? And based upon those things, the jury of 12 who have to agree, all 12 have to agree. So it's got to be real. They agreed that no to a RICO, no to the ex-trafficking, and they didn't find Jane and Cassie credible. Okay? So right now he's convicted of tuitions. Tuition is happening everywhere in America, be it wrong or be it right. It's happening everywhere. And you probably have a friend that's in the tuitions right now, probably doing some things, probably trying to provide for their kid or something like that. Do they deserve to do life? Do they deserve to do 5? Do they deserve to do 10? Just ask yourself the question. You know what I mean? If Cassie was in the tuition, if those escorts was toots, then Cassie was a toot. And if escorts and Cassie was a toot, then Diddy was a toot too. They all was toots. He was a toot, a trick, and a cuck at the same time, but he was a toot, just like them. You know what I mean? So, you know, like when you in jail, sometimes, you know what I mean, when you got certain kind of charges, people be on you, like if you got certain type of SEX crimes and stuff like that. But with this, it's like you in here for you being in there on some cuck, and you was in there too. So even some people in jail is not looking at his charges crazy like that. You know that, right? You know that. Because not like he was sending them over there, pimping them out, had them doing things without him. He's there every time doing it. And allegedly these ladies is doing it without him as well. So what do we do with this? What do we do with this? So whether you think he's going to get cooked, or you think he is cooked already, you know what I mean, he didn't get away. But if, like I said, if the government or the prosecution, whoever you want to call it, wanted real justice for these potential victims, if you deem them to be victims, then they would have charged them down the block on Foley Square, state court. He'd have probably had to confess to some of the crimes that he did, which was domestic, because they pushed it as a RICO, really pushed it on the back of domestic, but they really tried it like a D-Rug RICO case. They kind of tried him like he's like a D-Rug case, but it's not like a D-Rug case. No, this ain't like no mob case. No, it's not like no real enterprise case. There's no enterprise. No. So what is it really about? So this is where this house of cards starts to crumble, and this is where this whole thing starts to falter. If you go to my Shade Room interview right before the verdict came out, shout out to my girl Saren, I told her, she said, give me a verdict. I was like, you know, I can't just give you a guilty or not guilty. I'm from the streets and I understand stuff, you know what I mean? And people are innocent until they've proven things, right? But I'll tell you this, no to the RICO, no to the trafficking. And when it comes to the tuitions, we're going to have to see, because those are the things that might bite them. Because if they deem, even if they don't think about Jane, if they just say he's guilty of the Cassie one, then that means you're going to be guilty of Jane, because they're identical charges. So the prosecution was smart in how they charged it, but also wrong and foolish on how they overcharged it. But they were smart on how they charged it. Because if we miss with the RICO and we catch him with one of these, then he gonna get the other one of that. Or if we miss on those two and we catch him with one of those, and he gonna get that. So either way, how they charged it was smart. But the overcharge and the overreach is maybe why they didn't hit their target when they swung for the fence with the RICO. That's what I feel, man. OOTA, ONGO, who don't go, we live. I'm Bob Marley in my left hand, Ziggy Marley in my right hand. You know what I mean? Big tune, boss. You know what I mean? We outside. And that's what we doing. I'm here with my man Mel, a very, very good dude. Shout out to my guy Mel. Shout out to Calvin. It's my brother too. It's a good guy. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to those brothers, man. You know what I'm saying? And we most definitely gonna be together, and we most definitely gonna support each other. And we're not gonna have anybody disrespecting any of us. Not just Calvin, not just him, not just me, just any of us. And then when we understand that, we're gonna start to see each other again. Because there's no reason why I look at Mel and Mel looks at me and we see each other as black men and black people. But then when we look this way, there's a disconnect somewhere. Nah, there's no disconnect. We all on the same thing. We all not letting nobody do nothing with us. We all packing everybody out. Ain't nothing fair. Ain't nobody ever gave us no fares. And if y'all did, good. Hell yeah, we done with the fares now. That's how we deal with all of us. Our people in our chat, to the people that we building with on our panels. We together. And we're not allowing nothing. We're going to help sharpen each other. If you find me doing something that you don't think, pull my coattail. And I've seen some of y'all pull my coattail with Dr. Rashad because I respect the brother, and I told you I do. But I respect him enough to pull his coattail the way I am, too. Because if you want to be funny, I can be, too. Because it's not funny, right? Because it's not funny to me, too. See what I'm saying? And we black men, you can reach out, you can find out, and you can see how we feel about something. And we don't have to cast judgments on each other, because I could cast a couple judgments on you, too. So let's not be the pot in the kettle. I'm not here to prove a point in that way. I'm just here to say God is the greatest. Sevens in my chats all the time. And I believe in Jesus, man. And I'm just here trying to make people feel good and protect my people. So if you like that, then you're part of my tribe. Shout out to Watching Tomorrow. Shout out to you, man.
All right, thank you, brother. Shout out to my homeboy Udo on go. So you heard it first from Udo, right? And we have to have a bus right here so loud. I'm sorry, guys. Just hold on 1 second. I wanted you guys to see the main door. All right. Just give me 1 minute. I'm going to let this loud bus go by. And we're going to talk about something. All right. Everything is so loud around here. Do you guys actually hear the bus in the background? That would be a good question to know. Do you actually hear the bus in the background? Can you hear it, guys? Do we have anybody in the chat? What's going on with this chat? It's not moving. I don't understand why. All right. So anyway, oh, okay. I see what's going on. Live chat. Okay. Oh, okay. So we were on the wrong setting, so that's why I wasn't moving. Okay. So listen, guys, we're back in business now. I can see your chats again. So let's talk about this case a little bit more. And let's talk about it from a different angle, right? And let me tell you why it's such a problem when it comes to this RICO case, and why I even think that R. Kelly should not have been hit with a RICO, right? Now, this is just my opinion from sitting and listening to Diddy's case every day. But let me break it down to you this way. And I've said this before. You have a mob boss living upstate New York. Let's say he's living in Syracuse, right? But he's running a criminal enterprise here in Manhattan, New York. Maybe even into Harlem. We can call him almost like Frank Lucas. He's the American gangster, right? And let's say he's going up against another family. We're going to call them the Gambino family. Okay? Now, they're actually making money. Both sides are making money. They're selling crack and everything else, right? Whatever they sell. When one feels like the other team is getting the upper hand, what do? They start knocking each other off, right? So now you have blood spilled. Okay? So, when a RICO charge comes against that mob boss or several mob bosses, and they say, listen, Frank the butcher is looking at 30 years to life, you say, yeah, because these guys put the fear of God into us. They scare the life out of us. You know, get them off the street, but don't mention my name. You see how that works? But they want to take that RICO, right, in the same courthouse, guys. They want to take that RICO and put it on a rapper who's not making money from the actions. He's making money from his legitimate businesses, but he's running his own companies in which some of the individuals came into court and testified that they only advanced a freak off 1% of the time, but 99%, they were running all of this man's businesses. Now, I didn't follow R. Kelly's case. I only heard about that bad that he was doing, and it's terrible. But should he have been hit with a RICO? That's a real good question. I'm not saying that he shouldn't be charged for what he did, but when you pick it up as a federal case, just as Uda on Go just said, versus the state picking up the case, it's a much different outcome. And so when you start throwing around these RICO charges, eventually those RICO charges are going to show up in your local town. They might even get your pastor with a RICO. Or they might hit your mechanic with a RICO. Yeah, because one case begets another case. And I heard it with my own ears in court when they were trying to make a determination about Diddy, and like Shapiro stood up and she gave that good summary. And she said, basically, if you want to have a RICO, you need a very distinct other entity in order to have this racketeering work. They said, oh, no, we have one for you. We have a case of a RICO without all that. It's called Kelly versus the government. So now they're using the R. Kelly case to put Sean Combs in that seat as a one-man RICO. And that's the issue when it comes to this case. So that's why when I was on Tasha K, at the end of the video, I broke it down for you guys this morning. I said that there's a big problem with this case. Diddy did not have blood on his hands. He had baby oil and Astroglide. That's a different case. That's much different than a mob boss. So, basically the government, they were reprimanded by 12 people that were willing to stand up and say, no, not today, not a RICO. Now, does that take away that perhaps there's victims and people that were hurt? Not taken away from that. Even Mark Agnifilo, when he did his final closing arguments, guys, he said this is the story of two cases. One case that the prosecutors are trying to say is a RICO. The other case is a case of evidence. So that RICO case was decimated. But there's still that case with evidence that may have some questionable parts. Some people are having a hard time to really internalize how to take this case, because they do want to focus on the victimhood. They don't want to see people hurt. So it requires a little balance in order to navigate through this, because at one point, we want to make sure if there are victims, that they get their say. All victims should get their say. I stand on that. But in that second case of that RICO, if you let that RICO loose, all of our offspring is going to be facing some RICOs and a few Suaves and everything else. Yeah, real talk, guys, real talk. So, I say all that to say that when it comes to this case, we've learned so much from it. It's been a great case as far as understanding, like, it's overwhelming evidence they had in the case, whether right or wrong. The government put together an overwhelming amount of stuff. And when I tell you they use this app or this software called Cellbrite or Cellubrite or whatever, they can come into your house and get all your old laptops, old cell phones that you have sitting around in the basement or something, and they can pull up all your text messages for the last 10, 20 years. Yeah, real talk. So in this case, that's what we saw. We saw text messages that went back many moons ago. That's something to think about. I was talking to Calvin this morning, and he was telling me about how a lot of times the government is able to solve a lot of cases by state troopers, police officers. They have that license plate reader. Oh yeah. And so if a crime is committed, you pass a state trooper, you pass a police officer, they have that technology. Not only that, and I'm not saying you should try to commit crimes and get away with it. That's not what I'm saying. I'm telling you that technology is going to make it very hard for people to do stuff and feel like they can get away with it. Your average police officer has a body cam. Your average neighbor has a Ring video. Out here on the streets of New York, you have cameras everywhere. So, if you think you can do something and get away with it, you're deceiving yourself with false reasoning because it's not going to work in the long run. All right, so, yeah, even in your garbage, let me talk to you, Lavender. Lavender Smile Hairstyle, shout out to you. Lavender, let us promote your hairstyles if that's what you're doing. I'll definitely promote you. Send me an ad or put together a 30-second ad, Lavender, and I'll promote you. In the last 28 days, we got close to 2 million views. I'll put you out there in front of everyone. But Brian Kohlberger, now I'm not trying to tell you to get away with crimes, right? I'm just telling you how the world is changing. Brian Kohlberger, after he committed his crime, which he's pled to, he went to Pennsylvania and they were able to go into the trash of his father's house. And that's where they got the DNA to crack the case. Yeah. And also, check this out. When people send off their application for 23andMe, and they're trying to find out how much of the African and whatever, right? All their heritage and background, all the stuff, right? That information is being kept. And the government uses that to help solve these crimes. I think it's great because there's a lot of, I see sometimes watching these shows, we have a boxing tournament going on across the street, but I see sometimes watching the shows that's how they solve these cases where people went missing or they found someone back in 1970. And they're able to solve the case by tapping in on the backside of 23andMe and some of these companies where you can send in your DNA and find out your background. All right? So a lot to think about. But a lot of cases are being solved and it's good. Okay, and reimagine a card's dram. I don't, you'll have to elaborate on that. Zay says the vibes, everyone knows what Diddy did and that the court came out with a verdict that let a predator go. The justice system is against the poor. That's what I mean. We should operate more on vibes. All right. I read you loud and clear. That's a valid understanding that you make a great point. All right. Eric says, enjoy the war on intelligence and children. Yep, definitely. But on the flip, a weird guy can be innocent, but just give off creep vibes. That's true, Ryan. That's a good point. Zay said, no Epstein files and Diddy dropped charges in the same week. We're screwed. Okay. Epstein, there's a nothing burger there. There was nothing there all the time. The minute Elon Musk come out and he's threatening to expose things, the government spoke up and said, oh, there's nothing there. There's nothing burger. All right, guys. So I think we reached our time. Cass says Diddy's going to rot just like R. Kelly. I don't believe so. I think he's going to be out in no time. That's just my feeling. I think with the attorneys that he have, he might walk that very day. I just don't see it. Although I did break down how the judge could follow his pattern and really switch up. But I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening. But that's just my opinion. Zay, prosecution got too greedy possibly and let him get away. Cashew's lawyer was celebrating. Nobody gives a... All right. Valid point. Okay. Ryan says, I feel like it was wrong that Mr. R. Kelly was convicted and on a documentary, which anyone can say anything and lie. And I did hear many women on the documentary did lie on Mr. Kelly. Folks, I hate to tell you, and I know the case is sticky, but I think the guy needs a new trial. I think that's the truth. From what I saw from this trial, if he had the same attorneys, he wouldn't have gotten I don't think he would have gotten a RICO, but it doesn't mean that he still wouldn't have gotten 30 years. Does that make sense to you guys? I'm just saying you have to try people the right way and not just hit them with a RICO, and then you get the outcome that you got this time. All right. Okay. Shout out to Watson Brook Avenue, Point Soundview Fair Trial. Okay. All right. Very good. Very good. Shout out to Little Paulie, Chickaboo. Okay, somebody's being funny. The justice system is fixed. He is guilty, but will probably be found innocent. It's messed up the way the world is. All right, I respect how you feel. Tanya says, disrespecting the victims. Right, that's the key here. We cannot do that. We cannot disrespect the victims. Whenever there's a victim, they deserve a voice. So, all right, very good. All right. Okay, I think that's it, folks. You know what's weird? We went in and looked at the actual paperwork. This is a good point for you guys to walk away with. We all went in there and we heard what was said. I've heard 3 different dates because all it was just a little audio. But some people are saying September 22nd. Some are saying October 3rd. Based on what everybody heard, they come out with different understanding, you know? So it's really crazy how life works these days. Some are saying September 22nd, September 26th. Others are saying October the 3rd. Anyway, I'm going to grab the paperwork out of here, bring it to you guys so we can read it together and you can come to a clear understanding of what was actually said, all right? Oh, we have a subscriber, Ryan Nichols. Shout out to you. I appreciate you very much. Thanks for every like. A lot of people are definitely doing the work. The mods are really knocking it out. Okay, pastors in the building. Black people always find ways to be the victim. Good point. Pastor says that black people find a way to be the victim. All right. All right, Nikki says, didn't they just turn down an appeal for R. Kelly? Yeah, but if you had a lot of people standing, like in this case, when I first came in, people, if you said, I'll give you an example. I have it on video. Diddy's family walks out this door here, and they walk to the van. This is before I actually met them and so forth. And I'm like, we support you guys, right? And man, oh man, people went crazy. Oh, you support criminal, blah, blah, blah. Now, if you say that, nobody will say a word. The tide changed on the case because the facts started coming out. So that's something you have to keep in mind when it comes to these cases, you know. When people started hearing, and let me tell you something, and I'm not going to say the defense put out that video where Cassie is saying, I'll do this to you and I'll bury you. Blah, blah, blah. You know, Cassie, that audio came out. I think that's when people were like, wait a minute here. What's going on with Cassie? What's going on with Diddy? I don't know if you heard that leaked video, but somebody put it out. And believe me, it was things like that caused people to change their stance. And now, toward the end of the trial, you could see people out here dancing and saying, free Diddy. So there you have it, folks. All right, so I'm wrapping up here. Tony, what's up? What's happening? She says, set up. Okay. All right. Shout out to you, Cindy. I appreciate your hard work. All right. Michael says he's a loser. Okay. Ryan Nichols says Isaiah 3:11. What does Isaiah 3:11? Okay. Very good. Save says, Jesus love you all. Repent, please. Romans chapter 10, verse 9. We have some people in the audience that are followers of Jesus. Okay, B-Love is in the building, sending love from New Orleans. God bless you. Shout out to you, B-Love. I've checked you out before. I've seen you before. Michelle, and thank you for coming through, B-Love. Michelle, how are you? You have to have an open mind based on the facts. That's what it boils down to. We have to maintain the facts, folks. We can't just go with our emotions. And that's basically what a lot of people do. They just hang on to the emotions. You know, listen, let me tell you guys something. I invest in the stock market every day, right? And you have that side of emotion where you, like, there are some stocks that I purchased before, and maybe I find out new information about the company, and it's time to sell. And sometimes if you look at it from an emotional standpoint, you're like, well, I bought this stock. This stock has been good to me. They paid me a dividend. Oh. And if you hang on because of emotion, one day you might hit zero. So when you move with the facts, you can have a much better outcome. And it's the same way when it comes to these cases, folks. We have to use intelligence over our feelings sometimes. And that's a very important concept. Ryan, lawyers can twist the true to where it becomes unrecognizable. Yeah, that's the name of this game. That's what they try to do. Lori says, you're right. I had a different view in the beginning of the case, but as it went on, the charges didn't seem right. So true. Okay. All right. Okay, so we have pro chat. Yeah, if I appear angry to you, then you probably want to talk to the body language expert that's going to come on tomorrow. Because I am far from angry. But you're entitled to your assessment. But man, I wouldn't advise you to do that for a living. Okay. All right. Keep up the great work, bro. Shout out to you, Black5464. Thanks for locking in. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for liking. That's not spam, it's truth. Check out Pastor Gino Jennings for biblical truth. All right. So somebody's on pushing Pastor Gino Jennings. Okay. All right. All right. Let's see. Honestly, people should be more emotional when dealing with stuff like this. Okay, they say we do need more emotion. Okay, all right. Thank you for the input. That's what the jurors are doing now. Thank you, Tony. I appreciate your insight, especially what you shared with me the other day. All right, Bordeaux, thanks for keeping the chat clean. No spam, no spam. What cases out there are you guys interested in as well? We don't want to forget about local cases that people need their voice to be heard, right? So perhaps you guys can point out some cases, especially I like those cases where people are trying to get public exposure to the case, and they're in these small towns and they're getting railroaded. Those are the cases too. We have to talk about people, and we have enough people on the chat now that we can make a difference, especially in a small town. I would like to see that happen. All right. Okay, good deal. So I'm about to start my journey back up state New York, folks. It's been real. We have a lot of people that came through. I appreciate all the support. As you see with time, we're going to continue growing, but the key here, we want to be as accurate as possible. And even though sometimes, like what we saw last night, we had people looking at something and then they just want to automatically come to conclusions. Had they followed my channel or listened to my message from day one, like Uda on Go, they wouldn't even come to that conclusion. So we really need people to start moving with intelligence and be smart about stuff, and not just just jumping on a bandwagon about what they thought they heard or what they think is true. And we really need to bring in the facts. And I'm open to critical, anything you guys want to say, reach out. But don't bully people in the audience. And don't spam the chat. We're moving on to the next case. And we're going to have some big names involved already. I've been in talks with a few. I want to tell you guys something. Don't be disappointed. But I had a big name case contact me the other day. But we decided not to take it because of some of the legal ramifications. So those type of deals are coming through, but not every case we want to get involved with because we want to make sure that I like having the court cases because we have the transcripts to back it. And once something is said on public record, you can avoid some of the major legal ramifications, right? But I want to tell you, it would have been a really solid case to break. It was breaking news, and I was fortunate to be the person that was able to pull this person in. And you guys would have loved it. And I wanted to drop the story because it involved a huge person that all of us know about. But I had to play it smart, folks. So please forgive me. But I have to be judicious here. Yeah, we have to, right? So, but I will be bringing on some people and I probably will have the person on, but I won't get into the sticky. I don't want the smoke. Maybe we could talk about basketball and not the weird stuff, okay? So I'm still kicking that around. I'll let you guys know, but more than likely I'm going to bring the person on. Yeah, but we won't get into the allegations, all right? So stay tuned, guys. I have a lot of good things coming your way. I also had today another big name celebrity, and someone reached out from their family, and I don't know if I want to get involved, guys. You know, people deserve a voice, don't get me wrong, but I have to, you know, this is not my format to break stories about people not doing or doing vile things. You see what I'm saying? So, but we're going to keep pushing. Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate you very much. Let's see if there's any closing remarks. Please be respectful. Okay. All right. Thank you, Bordeaux. Okay. What is the Diddy angle? Okay. CT and Val is still delivering the hours. Jurors just came back. Okay. I have to check that out. Tony, I'll check that out. Okay. Misrepresentations aren't only in courts. Bring the facts with some more stuff being blown out of proportion. Okay, Lamont, thank you for that. This guy reminded me of Mace, no insult. I get that a lot. It's okay. I'm a big boy. I can handle it. It's all right. Okay. The mass shooting here in Orlando on Halloween. I'll have to check that out. I didn't hear about that one. You're going to have to get the ones where the railroading is going on. All right, very good. Thank you, Lamont. Never assume, always follow the facts. It's very important. Very important. And you know, I can tell you. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm already on Tyler Perry and Fat Joe. We'll be getting into Fat Joe this Sunday. So stay tuned. Also, I don't want to get into it too heavy though, so yeah, I'll hold off on that. A lot of big things happening, guys, but we have to be careful how we present information. The great thing is Calvin Johnson is an attorney, and if he tells me don't proceed, believe me, I'm not. So we want to make sure that we protect our interests and that we can have longevity here and not be a fly-by-night type of YouTuber. Thank you guys for tuning in. And I'll show you the street view. Zay says, if Diddy doesn't get, sorry, the screen went out. If Diddy doesn't get properly dealt with, it will embolden abusers and traffickers around the world. It sets an important precedent. You're so right. You're right. I mean, you make a valid point. I respect that. Yeah, best free advice, Calvin Johnson. But we take good care of him. He's such a good guy. Shout out to you, Kevin Younger. How are you? Thanks for tapping in with me. Thank you guys for subscribing. And for those of you who have set your alerts on, We're definitely growing, so that's a good sign that we're headed in the right direction. Again, tomorrow I'm bringing on Blanca Cobb. She is a body language expert that I sat in court with, and we're going to break down this case from the standpoint of a body language expert. Next week, I'm bringing on Queen Sheba. Her and I sat in court together taking great notes. She is excellent, top of the line. I look forward to building with her. She's top of the line too. Previously, I did a show with her and Blanca Cobb on the same show. So we have a lot of high-level people coming through and really taking their time to share information and knowledge with all of us. And some of these channels now, I noticed that people are lying and making up stuff like it's going out of style, folks. And we do not want to be that channel that's making up stuff. And if you feel like I made up something, I want to know about it. If it's not true, I'll fix it. Let me tell you right now. Because I hear people out here just making up wild stories. I'm like, I was in the courtroom, and you mean to tell me you're making this up? This is crazy. No way. I mean, it's one thing to make a mistake, right? We're entitled to that. But for you to deliberately just make up a bogus claim just to get clicks, we're not doing that over here. We're just not doing it. How much time do I think he'll get? I personally think he'll probably get very little time. He might even walk that day because his attorneys are something special. Looking at the case at face value, I would say this judge is tricky and he might give him more time, right? But after seeing how things are, that's at first glance. But after seeing how things are going for this case, I would say I wouldn't be surprised if he gets very little time or none at all after that date. Yes, that's right, Nikki. Blanca and Queen Sheba are amazing women. Yes, they are. I have the best people. I was able to come to this courthouse, right? And I was able to connect with the key people, like the best people, I'm telling you. Udo on Go, solid brother. Queen Sheba, Blanca Cobb. So many people that I was able to connect with. No drama. They be breaking down facts, and they have really great attitudes. They give it to you to the best of their ability. There's a reason why I was able to come here and connect with these people. You know, these are people that I look to continue to grow with. There's a reason why I have an attorney named Calvin Johnson on my channel every week. And now we talk every day, right? There's a reason why I have Candace Kelly on my channel. She's a legal analyst. She's a professor that teaches law, and she's of color. You know? Like, we're finding people that are like gold mines, folks. Really are. And that's what makes it so amazing. Hello from Shelby, Michigan. Thank you for tapping in with me, Mad Judah. Stay around. I look forward to learning more about you guys. You guys can always reach out to me. Cindy, can you put in the email address, please? Yeah, if you guys want to reach out to me, feel free to do so. Yeah, definitely. Feel free. All right. No, he's looking at 10. Come out feds. Went to trail here in Baltimore City. 10 years? Is that what you're saying? I don't know about that. I really don't know. You know, but again, if you look at the judge's history of how he's dealt with certain things, it could really go left. But I think for the most part, with his attorneys and their high level, it might be different. He might walk home that day and be done with it. All right, how much? Okay. Who are you talking about? I hope not Tisa. Okay, so I can talk about Tisa. Let me tell you about Tisa real quick. I had trouble getting into line, right? Well, I was in line first place for a long time. And many times I would look out for different individuals. Tisa was one of those individuals. When I had a hard time and couldn't get in line, Tisa was the person that came to my aid and helped me secure a place in the courtroom. So a lot of the rumors you're hearing about, oh, the only way to get into the courtroom, you have to be working with the feds. I know the real reason how we were able to get into the courtroom. And it came because we were complaining about some of the big networks. They had the ability to control the line and the list, and they were dealing with it improperly, so we complained. And when the verdict came through that we could stay in line, Tisa looked out for me. So that's all I have to say about Tisa. Tisa looked out. When I gave, it came back from Tisa. They call it reciprocity, people. So that's if that's what you want to know, that's all I have to say about her. All right? Okay, let's see what else anybody said. Thank you for that. Tisa stood on business, and I have respect for people like that. When you give to them, they give back. You know? I stand on that all day long. That's all I have to say about that. And I'll tell anybody that. Your positive energy is attracting others with the same energy. Yes. Well, that's what we want to do. Go Red Sox. All right. Shout out to my Cowboys. I'm a real Cowboy fan. So hopefully we don't have any Cowboy haters in here. But if we do, it's all good. All right. Mark Travis, my hat is red. All right. Shout out to you. It's all good. How you doing? All right. You have a Dodgers hat? Okay, good. The Diddy trials are just a distraction from the actual events that affect everyone's life. Focus on the bigger picture. Yeah. All right. So that's it, guys. I guess I have those same glasses. All right, Brian. We have the same. I think these are Versace. Man, I don't even know what I'm wearing. Ain't that a shame? I think they're Versace, though. I like Versace. It's what it is, folks. Diddy is a massive distraction. Focus on the systems of oppression, not the symptoms. Okay, good point. Kevin Younger, and that was from Sizzle Moon Song. Thank you for being in here. Thanks for locking in. Thanks for all you do. I appreciate it. Dennis Byron, hey, buddy, what's up, Dennis? Dennis, we're out here at the courthouse. Nice being here, seeing you at the courthouse throughout the trial as well. Kevin Younger, Diddy push when he should have sat down and disappeared. Okay, that's a good strategy. Okay, how do we start to do that? We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about it. Guys, I don't want to, I'm not giving you guys financial advice, okay? But I will say, all I do is invest, okay? That doesn't mean anything. But when it comes to this company, SoFi, S-O-F-I, when I first told you guys about it, it was $13. Now it's over 18, at least last week it's over $18. So any of you guys who are interested in learning how to invest, that day I told you to buy one and see how well it would go. Some people did. And quite a few reached out and said, hey, I made money on this stock. You know, I'm not saying go do anything major. This is not legal advice. But from time to time, I will give you a little tidbit of, sorry, I'm getting a call coming in. Sometimes I'll give you guys a tidbit. And it's up to you to research it. And, you know, I do this at a high level. All right? I do it at a level that would cause most people to pass out. That's how my level is. But I try to share with people. And on Facebook, that's where I really share it a lot. And I made so many people money. But again, I'm not giving financial advice. I just tell you what works for me. And you have to come to your own conclusion about investing in the stock market. But I want to do a show. If I get enough interest about it, I want to do a show about it to maybe help you guys understand the process. All right. Yeah, that's right, Gregory. I'm at the belly of the beast. All right. Oh, it went up to $20 today? Oh my God. What? Please don't tell me SoFi is at $20. Do you know what that means for me? Oh my goodness. So I've been on here yapping. So somebody in the audience is saying that SoFi went up to $20. Are you kidding me? Yeah, guys, this is what I do. This is my real thing is stock market, making money. All right? So I have to start my journey back upstate, man. I got to go an hour and a half. I'm going to grab a drink and maybe give me a water or something and start my journey back up. Yeah, Robin. Hold off, guys. I'm going to do a late night show. Hold on, guys. I'm going to do a late night show for people who want to understand how to fix their credit and also the stock market. I don't charge for this. I'm just telling you from what I know. And if you can profit from it, then great. But I'm not telling you you have to go do anything. If you guys want to know, I will share with you. But we're winning so far. So now, when I told you guys about 3 weeks ago to buy SoFi, if you want to learn a little bit, it went from 13 to 20 today. I have to go celebrate. I have to go. If it hit $20, I can't wait to get off the stream now to see that it hit 20, because that means a lot for a guy like me, you know, because I'm in it major. I'm on a high level. So taco meat. Okay. Shout out. Okay. Very good. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Thank you all. Thanks for all the likes. Thanks for all the subscriptions. Thanks for everything you guys do. Please reach out to me via email if you have a concern or question or whatever. But every trial, we're going to keep growing. But more importantly, we're going to keep integrity. So we're not going to be telling you some crazy stories and making up stuff. We're just going to give you the facts as best that we can. Sometimes we're going to be wrong. Sometimes you're sitting in court and you're halfway falling asleep. You might think you heard something. Okay, we're humans here, right? But we do have the transcripts to go back and say, hey, okay, I was wrong. But we're not just going to make up stories just to say, hey, you know, today a UFO came in and they took Diddy to Pluto. Whoa, yeah, I saw him. He went to Pluto. What's wrong with you? You know what I'm saying? So chill out, folks, with all that. And thank you, and have a good day. We might be back on tonight. Maybe we'll talk about some stocks. If you're interested in that, leave me a message, and I'll definitely respond. I respond to everything.